Yo, what's up? Back once again with another movie review, man. It's been a long minute. It's been a while since I did one of these. And I actually wasn't even planning on doing this movie review, but I just said, you know what? Why not? You know what I mean? It's you know what? Just for the hey, man. I wasn't even gonna do a movie review on this movie, but I just said, hey, let me just get my thoughts out there real quick. But yeah, I haven't. My last movie review I think I did was Invisible Man, which is way back in February, before the world has completely gone to shit. You know, so it was way before. It was about what 4 months ago. Yeah, so it's been a long while. So that's, of course, that's one of the reasons why I haven't done a movie review since then. I guess I could have done it, but you know, I like to see movies in the movie theaters as it releases, and you know, do it that way instead of watching it from home and doing a movie review. But I think I'm gonna probably get into the habit of, you know, doing more movie reviews because you know things are still shut down, and you know there's movies that I should be seeing and I need to see, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. But I think I'm gonna get into the habit of doing that. Who knows? But anyway, man, I wasn't even planning on watching this movie. I just saw it like 20 minutes ago. It was just something that I was just looking for a movie to watch, and you know, just scrolling through. It was on the front homepage of, you know, the particular site that I'm on. I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, the movie that I just seen was Scoob, the animated movie. Now, I'm not really a big fan of animated, you know, movies like the Pixar movies and stuff like that, and even the DreamWorks stuff. Any of those kind of movies like Finding Nemo and Minions, I'm not really a big fan of those movies. It's not really appealing to me. It's just, I don't know. It's not for me. You know what I mean? So this is a movie review that's pretty much out of like my realm. Like the type of movie that I'm reviewing is pretty much out of my realm because I really don't really watch these movies often like that. And if I do, it's once in a blue. So this is like a rare exception. I guess one of the main reasons why I watched it or I clicked on it is because I did grow up on Scooby-Doo. I was a big Scooby-Doo fan in my younger days. And I used to watch the original Scooby-Doo cartoon from the 70s and stuff. So I love that. I love Scooby-Doo. I love the character, and I love, you know, the characters that's in the actual cartoon. So me being a Scooby-Doo fan and growing up on the character and growing up around the gang of Freddy, Daphne, and Valerie, you know, Velma, I mean, and Shaggy, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna just watch it. And plus, I saw the trailer when it dropped, and I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. It's like a modern take on Scooby-Doo and stuff. So I said, you know, I might as well just check it out. And you know, now that I saw it, it's not like a super bad movie or anything like that, but it's not really that good of a movie either. It's just one of those kind of like, it's one of those type of movies that's like, I guess you just put on if you're bored. If you have nothing to watch and you just want to watch something that's lighthearted and cliche and just something cutesy, I guess, and you could just put this on. It's not really, of course, it's not that deep of a movie. It's a movie made for kids and stuff like that. So, you know, the demographic for this movie is very young. So it's not really going to be a real in-depth kind of movie like that. So there are some things that I did like about it, and there are quite a few things that I did not really like about it at all. So I'm going to get into that. I guess one of the main things that I did like was all the like references they had in the movie. Because if you grew up around Scooby-Doo, you know Scooby-Doo was made by these two animators called Hanna. I can't remember the full name, but the company who makes Scooby-Doo is Hanna-Barbera, and they're responsible for making, you know, cartoons like Yogi Berra and Wacky Races and oh man, Flintstones, Jetsons. Yeah, they made tons of classic cartoons, man. So I grew up watching Hanna-Barbera cartoons when I was younger, and seeing, you know, the references of certain other characters, like popular Hanna-Barbera characters, pop up in this film. It was very, like, just very nostalgic, and it was like, man, they brung that character back, they brung this character back, and to see them, you know, modernly animated in this style was pretty cool. So I did like all the references, and actually throughout the movie, it kind of had me like curious to see which other Hanna-Barbera characters was going to pop up, because I thought it was going to be more than what actually popped up in the movie, but it wasn't really that much. But the ones that showed up, I did appreciate it. But it was like, it kind of had me on edge a little bit to see, man, are they going to reveal like more Hanna-Barbera characters? And they really didn't, but they had a nice little cast of just Hanna-Barbera characters. If you're a fan of the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, you know who these characters are, and I'm going to get into them in a minute. So that's one of the things I liked. The other thing I liked was the animation was cool. I did like the animation of pretty much most of it. Like pretty much all of the cast members and stuff like that. I think they did pretty right. I know there was some controversy with how Fred was animated because he doesn't have that scarf, the notable scarf that he has in the original. And spoiler alert, it does show up in this movie, like the scarf, but the way they did it was just kind of like way too forced and way too lazy, and it didn't really make any sense as to why he put it on in that moment. But I guess they threw it on as a nod to, you know, his original design and stuff, and you know, I guess it works. But like I said, the way they done it was way too forced, and it didn't make any sense in that particular scene. What else? The music too. There was one song at the end credits, that I really liked a lot, and I had to Shazam it. I'm gonna play it because it's a smooth song. It's such a real smooth song, and the end credit animation was really done really nice. I really like the animation style at the end credit scene. And that's pretty much it as far as like things that I did like. I can't really think of anything else. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the good I have to say. Now I'm going to get into the bad. First of all, the story is, it's a nonsensical story. I didn't really care for the story at all, to be honest with you. I mean, you could pay half attention to it. You know everything that's going on. Is, like I said, it's a very cliche type of movie. You know all the beats the movie is going to take. You know where it's going to go, and that's just pretty much it. But one of my biggest gripes with the movie is that the main plot of the movie is not a Scooby-Doo. It's not a Scooby-Doo type of movie. You know what I mean? Like when you watch the old Scooby-Doo cartoons, it pretty much, yes, the Scooby-Doo cartoons was very clichéic and every episode was pretty much the same. But that's what I liked about it. And it was the whole mystery aspect of it and them solving a mystery and stuff like that. This one here is not really a mystery. It's more like an action adventure. You know, the group gets disbanded and, you know, one group has to find the other. And, you know, you have the villain who's in search for this thing that opens up another thing. And it's the same. We all seen that type of movie before. We have a group, we have a gang of friends and whatnot. They get disbanded and then the villain's looking for something and they capture some of the group and they have to go rescue. It's the same type of movie, man. So, yeah, if you're a Scooby-Doo fan, there are some things that you're going to like about it because it does pay homage to the original in a lot of ways. But then in some ways, as far as like the plot and stuff, it really does not feel like a Scooby-Doo movie. At certain points I was watching, I'm like, this does not feel like a Scooby-Doo movie at all. This just feels like, I don't know, like just a mixture of Hanna-Barbera characters and they just have Scooby-Doo in it. I was watching a movie review right before I'm doing this review now, and I think he summed it up perfectly. This is like them trying to create a Hanna-Barbera universe, and they use Scooby. This wasn't his exact words, but basically what he was trying to say is this movie is more like them trying to create like what Kevin Feige did with the MCU. They're trying to create like this Hanna-Barbera universe, and they use Scooby-Doo to kind of introduce that. But again, you kind of lose the essence of what Scooby-Doo is. They could have done it, but I kind of felt like they did it too forcefully, and they just try to rush into trying to create this world, trying to create this Hanna-Barbera-like universe. Like, they could have had a self-contained Scooby-Doo story that felt like an actual Scooby-Doo story. It actually felt like a Scooby-Doo mystery, but put in little Easter eggs here and there, and have maybe some cameos from some notable Hanna-Barbera characters, and then like just give people hints of what's possibly to come. Like, we could expand on this, but we're just dropping little hints and clues here and there just to keep you interested. I think that's the way they should have did it. I think with this approach, they did it too forcefully. And when you don't really have a strong story to support that, I don't think people are going to be well invested into seeing more from this universe. I mean, the movie is what it is. I mean, it's beat for beat, shot for shot, your same cliche type of kids animated film, you know what I mean? And it's based on friendship and whatnot. It has that, it has that big theme on, friendship and, what a friend really is and stuff like that. And I mean, that's cool, but it's not something that we haven't seen before. This is something that we see all the time. So I just feel like just forcing this kind of like Hanna-Barbera universe onto the people who's gonna watch it is just like, we don't really care about that. Yeah, it's cool that they had the homage to the popular Hanna-Barbera characters and just the franchise in general, and Scooby-Doo, like putting little things in there for the fans. That's cool. But when you're trying to force something that's not really there, nobody's gonna really buy into it. And I feel like, after watching this movie, it's just like, you kind of forget about it after you watch it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those films where you just forget about it, after you see it. It's not real. It's nothing special about it. It's just your run-of-the-mill animated kids film to me. That's just what it is to me. It's not, they didn't do anything new. All the themes that they had in it, you've seen in terms of other movies, and the other movies that had those same type of themes, they done it much better than this film. So I guess in a way, this movie is kind of just lazily done. You know what I mean? Like I said, the references and the characters who show up in this film are the highlights of the movie. And I think you will want to watch the movie for that. Like, if I had to recommend this film to anybody, I would say watch it if you are a fan of Scooby-Doo, if you grew up on the Scooby-Doo cartoons, and if you grew up on Hanna-Barbera as a whole, because there are like key references that you will see and characters that will show up. Be like, oh man, that's pretty cool that they had this character show up, that character show up. And it's nice to see, them animated in like a modern style. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm going to just touch on some of the characters that did show up. Of course, Blue Falcon. If you haven't seen the trailer, I mean, yes, Blue Falcon is in the movie. He's one of the key characters in this movie. He was done pretty well, although the character of itself, like as far as like his characteristics go, I didn't really care for, because he's like a wimp. He's actually not the original Blue Falcon. He's the son of the original Blue Falcon. So he has like this issue of, not really being a hero. He's trying to be a hero, but he's really not. He never fought any crime and stuff. He's just living off his dad's legacy pretty much. So you have that. Like I said, it wasn't really done right. I didn't really care for his character at all. He was like, Blue Falcon was a waste. He had so much potential, but it was a wasted opportunity. And also, you can't have Blue Falcon without Dynamite, and Dynamite did show up. Dynamite was cool, man. Like, Dynamite, he was cool. He was funny in some scenes and stuff. He served the role. And you had Captain Caveman, who was voiced by Tracy Morgan, out of all people. I liked it. I mean, it was, like I said, it was fine. I didn't really have any issue with it. And he did say his, catchphrase, Captain Caveman, and stuff like that. He did kind of sound like the original voice actor of Captain Caveman. In Tracy Morgan, he does kind of, oh, sorry about that. Sorry. But yeah, Tracy Morgan does kind of have that growly voice of the original character. So it worked. Also, Dick Dastardly, he was he played the main villain in this one. That was my surprise, because I remember when the trailers first dropped and I was watching, if you don't know who Black Nerd is, he's a, big YouTuber. He does a lot of nerd kind of stuff, and he's a big fan of Scooby-Doo. When he broke down the trailer, he was like, man, Dick Dastardly may show up because they showed this in the trailer. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, of course, we all knew Blue Falcon was going to be in it, but he mentioned Dick Dastardly, and then when he showed up, I was surprised. I was like, wow, he was actually in the movie, and he actually played a big role in the movie. He was the villain. And to see him, I did not like how they animated him. He looked nothing like the original Dick Dastardly. All the other characters did. Like, if you see Blue Falcon, it's like, yeah, that's Blue Falcon. If you see Dynamite, you're like, yeah, that's Dynamite. Now, even though Dynamite, he's more like a cyborg kind of dog in this one, and in the original cartoon, he was more like an actual dog. But in this one, he's more like a cyber dog, but it still worked because he still looked like, he still had the face of Dynamite. The body was like Dynamite. It's just like the only thing was he was just like a cyborg dog. That's it. Like a, half dog, half robot. But it still worked. So Dynamite looked fine. Blue Falcon looked fine. Captain Caveman, he looked, they altered his design a lot too, but it still worked for the movie. It still worked. I still recognize him as Captain Caveman, but they did modernize him. But the way they did Dick Dastardly, it was just like, he looks nothing like the original Dick Dastardly, and that's a shame, man. Like, he had this big fat face, and this, I mean, in the cartoon, his face is over exaggerated. He does have like a long chin, but in the original, he was more slinky, and like his face was more slimmed down, and his mustache was like the highlight of the design of that character. And he does have the signature mustache in this one, but it's more like you don't really notice it. It's just there, you know what I mean? But in the original cartoon, that was one of the highlights of his design. And yeah, he just didn't look right at all. To me, he looked more like Jim Carrey for some reason. I don't know if that's just me, but he looked a lot more like Jim Carrey than Dick Dastardly in the original. And they had Muttley in it too, so that was cool, man, having Muttley. Because when he first shows up in the movie, it's just Dick Dastardly, and I'm like, wait, where's Muttley? He had all these little robot minions around him, like he's the Despicable Me dude with the minions, and there was no Muttley. So I'm like, where's Muttley? But they explain what happened to Muttley, and I felt like that was a nice take on it. Instead of having him there just in the beginning, they kind of made it a little bit interesting, and Dick Dastardly had to go and find Muttley because he got lost in the portal and stuff like that. So they did put a nice little interesting twist to it. So I did appreciate that. But when Muttley showed up, I did like Muttley's design too. Like, everybody else's design was fine except for Dick Dastardly. I don't know how they messed that up. You would think that would be easy to design a character like that, but they just went completely off the wall and designed whatever that thing was that was Dick. Like, he wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't the iconic Dick Dastardly design. And that's the part that I didn't really like about it. So, overall, like, the movie is, I guess, fine. It's serviceable. But in the big scheme of things, it's forgetful. It's a forgetful kind of movie. It's something that you'll just throw on just to be like, oh, Scooby-Doo. I watch Scooby-Doo. I'm a big fan of Scooby. Let me see what this is about. And then afterwards, you just be like, yeah, whatever. That's how I felt watching it. I was like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Before I go, there was one scene, and I don't know if this was a reference or not, but it happened so fast. But I thought this was another cameo or another Easter egg. And it's when Fred, Daphne, and Velma, they're driving down a highway. They're actually looking for Shaggy and Scooby, and they get pulled over by the cops and whatnot. And when they get pulled over by the cops, the cop asks Fred, like, I stopped you over speed and whatnot. And then this car passes by, just zooms by. And for a quick second, like, you didn't see the car. You just seen like you know how a car, when it moves fast, you just see the image of something moving fast? It was just like that. But if you know what I'm trying to get at, there's another popular cartoon that Hanna-Barbera made, and that, of course, is Speed Racer. Now, I don't know if that was an actual Easter egg to Speed Racer, but I'm assuming that was like a reference to Speed Racer, or that was like a super quick cameo of the Speed Racer just zooming by the highway. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I thought that was pretty interesting, and it's just something that nobody would like really pay attention to. But as soon as it popped up, I'm like, wait a minute, that has to be Speed Racer. But you didn't really see anything. You didn't really see anything else. I think the Speed Racer car had the number 8 symbol on the side of the car. You didn't see anything, but you just seemed like something just white just flashed by. And I just thought that was a reference to Speed Racer. It just only made sense in that particular scene that a car would be flying down like that down a highway. I'm like, that has to be to me, that has to be Speed Racer. That has to be another Easter egg to Speed Racer. But that's just one little thing to point out, just to look out for. Like I said, that is the highlight of this movie. If you're going to watch this movie, you're just going to watch it for the Easter eggs and all like the homage and all that stuff that they pay respects to in this film. Like the characters and the little, taglines and stuff like that. The little things that do show up in this film, referencing other things within the Hanna-Barbera universe. That's the highlight of this movie. Everything else, sorry about that. Everything else is pretty much throwaway. So I think I spent a little bit too much time on this movie review. I'm going to end it right here. My phone is dying, so I appreciate whoever watches this. And I guess until my next one, man, I'm out.